Now, a story of extraordinary kindness. It's to do with volunteers sitting with people in hospital who they've never met before during their last moments of life. A charity called the Robson Trust has recruited 40 people to cover shifts, keeping dying patients company at a hospital in Essex. It hopes the service can be extended right across the UK. John Douglas reports.
In a side room at the Princess Alexandra Hospital in Harlow, a man lies in bed unconscious, taking sharp breaths. He's dying, and sitting quietly next to him, holding one of his hands, is a woman who barely knows him. Carrie is a butterfly volunteer.
I'm here to support patients at the end of their lives and their families. When I arrive, I don't necessarily know anything about the patient. So sometimes we just talk about what the weather's like. Most of the time they're not really responsive, so I just have memories that I have that I think that would be nice to share with them, or sometimes I just read to them. But worries about its propensity to bring out the 20-year-old in her husband.
Carrie can visit hospital patients who have no one else to sit with them. Today, though, the patient does have someone there, his son, David Small from Hertford.
My dad's 83, but you would never believe it. Up until 3 weeks ago, he had probably 30, maybe more, old dears, as he used to call them, that he looked after, doing their gardens in the summer. In the winter, when that died down, he would be giving them a lift to hospitals, doctor's appointments. He'd be fixing their roofs, changing light bulbs. You know, I think he's going to be a loss to the community because he actually kept a lot of them independent, I would say. And then, I think it was about 2.5 weeks ago, he complained about feeling 1 degree under, in his words. They thought it was pneumonia. And then they said he had lung and bone cancer, and we got the news that it was quite well advanced. And about 4 or 5 days ago, he became unresponsive, and he's still with us. And it's a bit of a shock because I think everyone thought he had hours. But I'm not surprised. He was going around on a BMW touring motorbike 3 weeks ago. So, incredibly shocked. And really, it's just a waiting game now. But as I say, because my dad's so strong, it doesn't surprise me he's holding on. So this part of it is very, very difficult.
I'm ever so sorry, David, to be speaking to you in circumstances like this. I know that the butterfly volunteers have been helping you during your time at the hospital. In what way?
Well, hospitals really are very lonely places, and it sounds crazy because they're always 24/7, they're busy, there's people everywhere. But when you're entering this phase, the nurses are in the business of trying to patch people up, and the butterfly volunteers come in with time and a smile on their face. And one of the volunteers came yesterday and perfectly timed around 11 o'clock in the morning. I was hungry by that stage, thirsty. I wanted to go to the loo. I didn't know, Dad could go at any second. It was nice. It was nice to have a break, and that's what they've been. They've been a break, and they've been somebody who's there and caring and willing to listen in, as I say, what is a very lonely but busy hospital.
More than 300 end-of-life patients have been visited at this hospital since the visits first started in January. The volunteers are vetted and trained by the charity they work for, the Robson Trust. Its founder is Liz Pryor.
It takes sometimes quite a long time, a few days, to actively die. And so to have a team of volunteers who come in on a rota basis to sit with people makes a huge difference to that person, but also to their family and their relatives who can't necessarily be by the bedside 24/7.
I suppose equally there must be some patients that really just want to be left alone.
Absolutely, and we did have a gentleman the other day who a volunteer went to visit, and he said, "It's very kind of you to visit me, darling, but I've had my wife here all morning and I'd rather I was left alone. Is that all right?" And she said, "Of course it's all right. We're not here to force ourselves on anyone."
Shahid Sardar, you're Executive Director for Patient Engagement here at Princess Alexandra Hospital in Harlow. What is it that these volunteers are offering that your staff can't offer?
Time at the bedside and time to sit quietly, that quiet, gentle conversation, a comforting presence.
The volunteers can offer practical support like sorting out free car parking passes for patients' families, but they won't feed or provide drinks for patients. Nursing care is not their job, nor do they stay at a bedside 24 hours a day.
The hospital has a very different atmosphere during the evening and at weekends. The staffing is much less, so there's much less support for our volunteers. So that's why we don't encourage them to stay very late in the evening or overnight. And I feel that sitting with someone for longer than about 2 hours turns that volunteer's role into something more responsible than it should be. And it's really important that they work as a member of a team rather than just feel that it's just them and it's their responsibility.
The concept is not unique. Similar services are run at other hospitals. But Liz Pryor believes hers is the only charity set up specifically for this purpose. The idea is to share its expertise with other hospitals so they can have their own butterfly volunteers at no cost to the NHS.
I've got 8 hospitals who've contacted me who want this. I'm really keen to work with them. I think once we get started in other hospitals and we start the momentum going, I'm really hoping it will expand quite quickly.
That's Liz Pryor from the Robson Trust ending John Douglas's report.